Hello, hello, hello. If you guys could let me know, can you hear me? Wait there. The ring. Just gonna grab a little microphone. Hey, Tali K, you made it. You made it. Hey, 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 hey. Let me pop this in here. Greetings from Germany. Lovely, lovely to have you. Misbehaving. Hey, baby, you good? All right, let me pop this here. So can you guys let me know if you can hear me better now that I've put the mic in? Or is it one of those situations where now you just can't hear me at all? We can hear you well. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So I want to hear it. I want to see it. Where are you? Let me know where you are in the comments. I want to see it roll, roll, roll on my screen. Connecticut, Canada in the house. Lovely. Morgan, you flatter you. Melbourne, Australia. Lovely to have you. Providence. Upper Michigan. Hello, hello, hello. London, England. What's up, Babs? You good? Oregon, USA. Beautiful, amazing. It's one of the places that I really have to visit. If the problem is there are so many places in the US that I want to come to. Waxahachie in Texas. Am I saying that right? Normandy, beautiful. Lovely to have you. Barbados, lovely. Oh, that was a terrible accent, by the way. I apologize. Quebec City, beautiful. Las Vegas, Worcestershire, or Worcester, as I like to say. I am okay, thank you very much, lovely. Thank you for asking, that's really kind. So we are here, obviously, to talk about the Taurus New Moon. I'm sorry that I've been late getting this out. It's been a bit hectic behind the scenes, as many of you know. Waxahachie, yeah, okay, so not too bad, not too bad. I wasn't too far off. Mr. Lee Reed from South Africa, amazing. Come to Connecticut, I'll show you around at the casino and the beaches. Honey, the only thing that's going to guarantee is that I come home with a really good tan and no money in my pockets. Let's swerve the casinos. I don't have that kind of luck. Native American, beautiful, beautiful. You like my shirt? So I thought, in the spirit of astrology, thank you so much. All right, so I'm going to stop waffling at you now and we will get into it. So we're here to talk about the Taurus New Moon. If you are tuning in right now, thank you so much for spending your Monday or Tuesday morning or evening, wherever it is that you are in the world. It really does mean the lot. It really does mean a lot to this, because I was looking at Lexi Lowett. It does mean a lot to me that you've tuned in today, that you're here watching this, that you're supporting me, my channel, and my work. Really does mean a lot. So if you guys are here right now, can I get you to smash that like button for me, because it really does help the video, it really does help the channel. I would be super appreciative of it. If you are watching right now, you know Rafi loves you, and if you are one of my subbies, you know Rafi loves you. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose, and this resonates, hit the subscribe button. All right, so is everybody ready for the first new moon in the sign of Taurus that is not an eclipse in almost 2 years? Yeah, I know I am definitely, like, you get to that point where you are so over the eclipse cycle that we're living in. Anne Perry is a wonderful numerologist, by the way, and we're working on something behind the scenes. We are hoping to get a little collab going. I'm so chuffed and so excited because I'm actually a fan of Anne's, so it was really nice to get her email. Anyway, I'm waffling. Let's get onto it. Okay, so the Taurus New Moon on the 19th of May is happening at 28 degrees of Taurus. Now, here in the UK, remember, all of the charts that I look at are from the point of the London chart, because I am in the UK after all. So you'll have to look at the time zone and stuff and work out the calculations. Now, things to remember whenever we're talking about astrology, the chart that we look at is a moment in time. Right. So what we're effectively looking at is a moment of initiation, or a moment, we're taking a snapshot of where the planets and the luminaries are at any given moment. And when we look at that, what we're reading is the potential of the energy of that moment in time and how it's likely to unfold in our lives and in the world. Now, the reason it's important for you to check your sun, moon, and ascendant is because your sun sign is going to be like your overarching goal and where this energy hits. Your moon sign is more personal. It's the deeper you. Thank you so much for the super chats, guys. It really means a lot. It's the deeper sort of insight. It's the you behind closed doors that only your partner, your parents, it sort of ever really get to see or know. And the ascendant is the most accurate because it tends to be how you move through life, right? It's that day-to-day level. Now, this is an interesting new moon because it is the first one that is not an eclipse, which means whatever's seeded here, it's got a more personal element. When something is an eclipse point or an eclipse moment, that is kind of hijacked by fate because of the energy of the nodes, the karmic energies that are floating about at that time. So this moon, it's more personal, right? It hasn't got as much oomph or baggage behind it, and it means that we can do more with it personally. I personally feel we can do more with it. Now, this is absolutely a manifesting new moon. So, you know, for those of you that are into that kind of thing, you know I am. This is absolutely a new moon to do that with. Now, there are some things that I want to talk about here. Please don't get upset. If you've been with me long enough, you know I always want to talk about astrology, tarot, numerology from a place of empowerment, but I also don't believe in glossing over the challenges, right? We love the woo-woo, but we've got to keep our feet on the ground. And it doesn't, I do you and the whole world, and well, I'll say the whole world, my subscribership and you wonderful people, I do you a disservice when I gloss over the stuff that is potentially hard that's heading right for you. All right. So whenever I talk about the difficult stuff or the challenges of life, it's not to upset anybody. It's actually to give you that heads up so that you know what's coming and you can find a way to navigate it. Okay. So that being said, disclaimers put in place. Oh gosh. This Taurus new moon, because it's at 26 degrees of, because it's at 28 degrees of Taurus, it is within the orb of what we would call a conjunction of the fixed star of Algol, right? Now, if you know anything about astrology and you know anything about the fixed stars, you know Algol has a really scary reputation. Now, this new moon has got a little bit of hot sauce to it. It's got a little flavor. It's got a little spice, right? We like a little bit of spice here in the Reydiant Nation. You guys know that, right? But what it really tells me is that you have a chance here to get a little rough and ready with it. This is one of the things that I love about Taurus. Yes, Taurus likes beautiful things, but it's practical. It can handle it. Taurus likes a little bit of rough and tumble. You know, it likes to get its hands dirty and its toes in the grass and the ground. And sometimes you got to get a little bit gritty with life in order to get the best out of it, right? So, Algol, though somewhat dark and scary in its mythology, and she is a little bit of a fickle mistress, if we're, you know, completely honest and calling a spade a spade. If she is approached, because Algol is effectively Medusa, and, you know, even if you've only seen Medusa in films, you know sort of some of the symbolism. We're going to unpack that. Now, if approached with the utmost care, honor, and respect, she can produce some really amazing results for us. Now, I'm going to liken this to sleeping with somebody that you desire, right? If you're planning to hit it and quit it and just jump in and, you know, and then run and be brash and rude and obnoxious and demand and be domineering, she's likely to burn you and whatever you touch to a cinder, okay? That's the warning. That's the caveat. If, however, you approach her, and, you know, it's in Taurus as well, by the way. Taurus is a Venus-ruled sign, right? So when you think about Medusa, when you think about Algol, this is like the deepest, darkest element of the feminine. if approached in the wrong way. However, approach with love, openness, honesty, care, and a little healthy dash of caution, you might strike a bargain with dear Mother Algol, and she might indeed grant you more than you ever thought possible. Now, she will definitely match your energy and amplify what you put forward. So make sure that you are conscious and careful in how you utilize that. Now, although it is at a very wide orb of like 9 degrees, the new moon is still kind of conjunct Uranus. So it's a potent energy. And with such a concentration of those kinds of energies in the sign of Taurus, we've got Mercury, which will be direct at this point. I'm filming this on the 15th. So tomorrow, the day after, Mercury will be, at least tracking forward. On top of that, we've got Uranus, we've got the sun and the moon, because obviously it's a new moon. When the sun, the celestial father, and the moon, the celestial mother, come together, mum and dad are having a little sexy time, right? So when we get a new moon, something is conceived. And we've got Jupiter newly in Taurus as of tomorrow. I'm so excited about this transit. Rehouse, and then also we're going to have the North Node as well, which means our lives are ripe and ready for the seeding of something. Taurus is the earth, it's the environment, it's the lush, fertile soil that we plant something real in, that will grow and grow over time, that can become something truly wonderful and spectacular. So the reason I say we get to choose is because there's no eclipse energy, just to reiterate that. Now, if you've been with me long enough, you will have heard me explain the moons as a cycle, right? So the new moon is where you plant the seeds, where you incept something, you initiate something, and then it grows to full, where you come into the harvest or the reaping. Now, one of the things that I've personally observed, I don't know if anybody else feels the same, but it's definitely something that I feel is quite relevant, is that we, whatever you seed at the new moon, some people say like 2 weeks later when you have the, the next full moon, that's where you collect. I personally have better results when I collect from the full moon that corresponds to the new moon that we're seeding things with. So whatever you're setting into motion now, you may be ready to collect when the full moon lunar eclipse happens in the sign of Taurus on the 28th of October this year. So just to look at it that way, right? I hope that helps. Now, in terms of mythology ideas, in her myth, Medusa became Athena's greatest weapon. So it was actually Athena, not just Perseus, that fought sort of, using Medusa's head. And she became more powerful, after she died, effectively. Now, I know that symbolism is a little bit scary. It's a little bit heavy, and it's like, oh, God. But don't think about this. This is interesting because Algol is said to eclipse itself, right? So eclipses are, even though this is not an eclipse moon, don't worry, eclipses are a transformational and, given that trope of, something coming to fruition after it's been, almost rent in two. Now, it's fair to say that this star can offer protection as well as destruction. Algol, as a star and as an energy, is a master of protection, providing you use it in that way, which means just like every lunar cycle, there's a juxtaposition. So I always say this to people: if you think about a new moon is a dark moon, right? And it's the end of the old moon, but the beginning of a new one. So it's a completely dark sort of cycle. And what happens in the cosmic womb, when you think about how babies are made and born, in that warm sort of dark, fertile richness, that's where things come into blossom and to bloom. Now, Luna is being rebirthed. She's actually technically Kazemi, right? So once a month when we have a new moon, that's a Kazemi. Nobody talks about it in that way, which I've always found weird, but hey ho. When a planet or a luminary comes into contact with the sun. So, which means she's at the seat of the sun, her celestial lover. So mum and dad are coming together on top of or in Medusa's lair, if you like. And as such, the creation that spills forth from this new moon will be very powerful. All right. It's also worth noting that Medusa was made a Gorgon, but before she was a Gorgon, she was a goddess, an oracle of prophecy, right? Which is amazing. So this new moon could very well, right? When what happens in the dark, your other senses take over. I don't know if any of you have ever been into one of those sensory deprivation tanks. I remember the first time I ever went into one. Oh my gosh, I was blown away. It was absolutely incredible. Like I just laid there floating on the water and all of these colors and feelings. It was like so amazing. And at one point, I swear I could feel like my ancestors in that space with me. It was just incredible. If you ever get a chance to do one, you know, go. You'll love it. If as long as you're not claustrophobic or anything like that, in which case you'll hate it, so don't go. But anyway, right? She was an oracle goddess of prophecy, which speaks to me of something in our lives being literally rent into, let go and released, shattered, destroyed, if you like. But in that destruction, something totally brand new and life-giving and materially nourishing is being born. So it might only be just a stronger sense of self, but isn't that worth its weight in gold? The star can also teach us how to turn some of our greatest tragedies into some of our greatest triumphs. So just like Athena used Medusa in battle, so too can we respectfully and carefully, you know, and with a truly open and honest heart, draw on that same power, depth, protection, magic, and extremely psychic energies of this star. So it might be a perfect new moon to do some kind of scrying with water if you're inclined. Again, if you're doing something like this, don't play around with it, right? Unless it's something you're going to take really seriously, because when you open yourself up to scrying, etc., you're effectively opening your energies up. So if you're going to do this, do it in earnest with reverence and respect. All right. So let's get into the signs and how this is going to affect you guys, or all of us, should I say. Now, Aquarianess, I will be pulling cards, but not for personal questions. This is purely for the astrology of the new moon, and there will be one single card for each sign. All right, Bridget says, Bridget Avian Life, I just got told I'm officially cancer free. That is amazing. Oh man, I send you so much love, so much hugs and blessings for this next round of your life, right? What a thing to find out just before a new moon in the sign of Taurus, which actually represents the energy of the body, right? The embodied experience. So for you, my dear Bridget, I truly hope that you, now that you've been given this new lease on life, I truly hope that you honor, love, and cherish and respect yourself and your body. And I really hope that you enjoy it to the fullest and to the max. I'm so very happy for you. Just really, really wonderful. All right. Really, really amazing. Okay. So before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our path to our highest vibrational good. So, cards shuffled. I'm going to put that light on now, because even though it's light right now, there's likely to be, it will get really dark really quick. There is a reason, by the way, that I'm scooting across the floor rather than getting up. And that reason is I have not long come back from a class at the gym. And when I tell you my legs are busted, I ain't even going to front. Like, it's not about having jelly legs on camera in front of all of you guys. Okay. Oh, you're too kind. So for Aries, for you guys, this new moon is taking place in your second house. This is the first new moon in the sign of Taurus that is not an eclipse, which means whatever is seeded for your finances, your money, your resources, your sense of self-worth and value at this moment in time, it's coming from a much more personal place, and it's coming in a much more stable kind of way. which is absolutely beautiful, right? So a new moon in the sign of Taurus for you is really all about your money, the money you make, the money you earn, the money you own, like your savings as well. It's all coming up for consideration. Set your intentions around making more money, getting more finances, money, and resources in the space for yourself. Now, this new moon is sextile for you to Neptune. This is happening across your 2nd and your 12th houses. So potentially past opportunities or insights are coming to the surface here around your finances or your resources. Now, some of you could be spending money on a creative pursuit that you find fulfilling, especially things like photography, spiritual ideas or creativity that centers around that, or has like or maybe even taking a retreat of a spiritual nature that really helps you tap into your own innate sense of abundance or ability to generate abundance. Now, this new moon is also going to be sextile to your own ruler of Mars. So this is happening between your 2nd house and your 4th house of home, family, property, real estate. So Mars has been in Cancer for a while at this minute, right? And once we've had this new moon, it literally steps straight into the sign of Leo. And that, I got to tell you guys, I would say probably the 19th right through to the 24th, 25th. I mean, the 24th is going to be an interesting day for sure. If I have time, I promise I will get a video out about it. Now, the new moon is powered up by this 4th house sextile, right? Which means potentially you're drawing strength from your family, helping you to value yourself more, as Mars rules your 1st house and your 8th house as well, right? So this could be helping you see your own worth and value in new ways that empower you. And by being informed or infused with the energy of your heritage, maybe you're deciding to spend money on, on making your home more stable, making it a more powerful base of operations. It might also be for some of you that you're preparing for moving forward in some regard and knowing that maybe you're doing it either alone or you're doing it with the blessing of your family. Now, there is a grand fixed cross going on. I don't know what. Sorry, I just got distracted by that. There is a grand fixed cross going on. Now, for you personally, this is happening across the 2nd, 4th, 8th, and 11th houses. So this fixed cross for all of us in some way, shape, or form is likely to be, it's going to highlight an impasse, right? Remember, a square in and of itself creates an energy of frustration, irritation, and it basically says you're going to look at this until you find a new way to deal with it. Now, because it's a grand fixed cross across all of the fixed signs, even though this one at the time of the new moon, that 4th house one will move into, because it's Mars, right? Your ruler it will move into the sign of Leo imminently. There's something here that we can't get past, that we can't circumvent. There's no going around it. It's literally just a case of finding the strength to go through it. Now, I'm going to talk about that a bit more at a later date. And then finally, the Pluto is going to be trine to the new moon, right? Now, it's a weird trine. It's called a dissociated trine because Pluto's at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So even though it's by orb, it's not by sign, which would be a true trine. It creates a deep sense of transformation for you when it comes to what your hopes and the possibilities are for your future. It's allowing you to get really deep and honest about what you want, what you need, and more importantly, why you deserve it. All right. And that's a really, really important one. So for you, my dear Aries, you have the Page of Wands. This new moon is really asking you not only to get creative, but it does suggest that there is news on its way. Now, this news that's coming to you, usually with the Page of Wands, you could say like it would be an email, a phone call, or a text message, but this is a letter. It looks like a lot of you are also waiting for a document, a piece of paper of some sort, and when you get it, you are going to be over the moon. What this also suggests as well for a lot of you Aries people, Thank God it wasn't the Page of Swords. What this also suggests for a lot of you as well, you're tapping into your own sense of creativity, especially as Mars is about to move into Leo, and you are going to find what really makes you tick. And then when Venus comes into the sign of oh gosh, come on, brain, Leo, you are going to be flying high. Trust me, we all are in so many ways. Okay, so for Taurus, my ball gang, you guys know I love you dearly. So for you guys, this is happening in your first house. This is your yearly new moon. You get one new moon, one full moon per sign per year, and this is your new moon. Not only does this give you a chance for you to ask yourself what you desire to start and initiate, it also, there's no shocks or surprises attached to this one because it's not an eclipse. So this is purely self-focused and directed energy with a concentration of energy in your sign, because there's such a lineup of planets in your sign at this time, which is amazing, right? So you've got Mercury, which will be direct at this point, the North Node, Jupiter newly in your sign at this point, Uranus in your sign, the Sun, the Moon in your sign, and Uranus is in there as well. I don't know if I just mentioned that, but that's a lot of energy in your sign. You are being lit up like Christmas at the moment. This is a great time for ideas pertaining to joy, pleasure, and creativity, and also how those things can potentially make you money or provide you with some kind of worth. Now, Jupiter newly in your sign at 0 degrees, which is yummy. But it's immediately going to go into a square with Pluto. So this is something potentially a bit too much right now. Although Pluto and Jupiter coming together is known as the millionaire maker, so it can be really good, but this is like maybe something that you asked for. You know what, I wish I had more work for my business, I wish I had more clients, I wish I had more of this, and they're like, okay, cool, no problem, wish granted, bang, and then you just get absolutely smashed with all this new stuff, and you're like, okay, now I can't deal with all of this because I don't have enough time, space, or people. So it's kind of one of those, be careful what you wish for, but it could still be great, to be fair. It's a lot, right? Remember, Jupiter loves to amplify things, and Pluto is not an energy to be trifled with, and definitely not slept on. Now, the new moon is sextile to Neptune. So this is happening between your first house, the new moon, and Neptune in your 11th. This is actually really nice because there's a support here for your larger goals coming from friends and helpful people, which is beautiful. Your hubby's sun is at 28 degrees. So this is like literally his new moon, right? Like this is on his sun. This is going to be a big year for your hubby. Now, this is a renewed sense of hope and possibility, and I really like this for a very spiritual conversation with a friend or a mentor that helps lead you forward to something that you genuinely want for yourself. It will require some honesty, though, from you. Don't buy into the fantasy, right? Have your fantasies, absolutely. If you've been with me long enough, you know how important how much importance I attribute to dreaming, right? So important, but keep it grounded. As I always say on the Reydiant reality platform, we love the woo-woo. We get totally into the woo-woo, but we keep our feet on the ground. Okay, now this new moon sextile to Mars happening between your first and your third house. This is some decisive action that is taken that gets you to go after something that you desire for yourself. And that third house Mars, it's making you vocal, it's making you energetic, it's making you feisty. It's probably been doing all of this so far. And about your to-do list, maybe you're like, right, I got to do this, I got to do this, I'm getting straight into it, like, let's have it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you are ready, you're amped up and ready to go. I love this for a proactive plan that you start to enact and you stick to no matter what comes up. It's like you find this powerful innate drive just to get something done, right? Mars as the ruler of your 7th and 12th means that the tension could push you from a past love or connection. So this could be like somebody that you dated, maybe somebody that you've just broken up with, all the rest of it, like something that they do to aggravate really, you're like, you know what, this is the push that I needed to do something serious. All right, now, and when I say do something serious, I mean do something for yourself that feels empowering. Okay, spurs you into action, making some good stuff happen. I love this because it's like whatever the challenge is, you find your own desire and it feeds into you being successful. Now that grand fixed cross, I'm telling you, the fixed signs, man, we have been through it. This is for you, happening across the first, the third, because of where Mars is, but it will move into the fourth eventually, the 7th and the 10th. Now, this would have been in the fourth, and it will be. There's an impasse here between home and family, your relationships and career, right? So there's something here where you are kind of like, there's an impasse. You're going to see this and there'll be no ignoring it. There'll be no getting around it. There won't be any coming back from it either, but this will thrust you forward in a way that pushes you and provides the energy that you need to make a big change in your life that you feel totally in control of. Now, that trine to Pluto, even though it's a dissociated trine, is happening in the 10th house for you, the house of your career. There's an echo of a past relationship or a connection that comes in here, potentially a professional one, that suggests a newfound sense of freedom is showing up for you in the career sector. It's almost like you kind of say, you know what, I am going to make this happen one way or another. And it's almost like the universe is like, okay, yeah, Taurus is about it. They're showing up. The bull is excited and ready to go. Okay, cool. In that case, let us get the red flag out and open the gate. All right. So I love this for power boosts that may have an echo of something from the past, or a part or a version of you that you remember. Like when you say, you know what, I remember being that badass and I'm bringing that version of me back now. All right, your card for this is the Hermit card. So you've all seen those memes and stuff in the social media sphere where it says disappear for 6 months, get into your grind, and then come back a different person. That's what the Hermit is telling you to do, right? Like literally, the Hermit is a card of withdrawing from the world. Remember at the beginning, I said the new moon that you initiate, you plant seeds of now, you will be reaping the rewards of that at the end of this year when the Taurus full moon lunar eclipse is happening in the sign on October 28th. So this is literally like, for the Taurus, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you kind of go dark, disappear for a while, and just come back and absolutely slay the house down. Do you know what I mean? Like just come in and be like, yeah, we're back and we about to do it. Okay, so Bull Gang, this is for you, baby. Happy birthday if you are a Taurus. And for those of you that are Geminis, if you are having your birthday shortly after or around this, happy damn birthday to you guys too. So for Gemini, this is a new moon in the 12th house. Now, anything that happens in the 12th house is hidden. It tends to have a lot more of a powerful energy within us. And it tends to be a lot more subdued and subjective, right? It can, however, reiterate or excite things or bring things back from the past. So the 12th house offers you a chance to recuperate. And given that your ruler of the ruler of the new moon, Venus, is in your 2nd house, this might have something to do with financial regeneration for a lot of you. It might also help you to understand where financially you're not doing yourself the best service, because remember the 12th house is your self-sabotaging tendencies as well. Venus loves to be in the 2nd, so this is a helping hand that you're getting from the lady herself, the ruler of the new moon. And I feel like this is a refresh, not just of your past, but it's like a fresh start when it comes to where you've been and how you use the knowledge of your own history. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hope that helps. Okay, so the sextile to Neptune so the new moon is going to sextile Neptune. So this is happening across your 12th house and your 10th house. Neptune sextile this is going to be a great connection for your career, because there's an element here of being able to bring some kind of new equipment into the work that you do. So maybe you're getting new headshots, maybe new promotions, could just as easily be like a podcast, some kind of radio appearance. The new moon is something that will shape up, but it's not here yet. And it also gives that new moon a spiritual element. All right. Now, in the sextile to Mars, the new moon, I think this is a new financial opportunity that shows up for you, because this is between the 12th house and the second house. Mars has been in its, been in its sign of Fool, but in the second house. Now, it might have made you a lot more active about making more money, but potentially spending more money too. Just consider here as well that finances are going to have a lot to do with what this new moon sets into motion for you. Mars rules your 6th house and your 11th houses, right? So this means that there's a strong chance that work, career, and even your health are going to play into this. I feel like the whole work-life balance thing and the longevity of your career is going to be a big part of what's going on here. The grand fixed cross is happening across your 2nd, 6th, 9th, and 12th houses. Now, although it should be the 3rd house, because obviously, Mars is imminently about to move into Leo, so it's still there by orb. Yeah, thank you so much, Violetta or Violetta. I hope I said that right. There's, what happens when there's an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, right? You find a way. You are a mutable sign, so I think you are probably going to flex with this a lot better than most. I actually think Pisces and Gemini are going to be the ones that kind of navigate that fixed cross better than most. It's very clear here that something is going to need to be let go of, right? And when it is, you will definitely feel better and you'll be able to move forward. Now, given the houses that are involved, that push will likely come from the outer world, but the solution will be spiritual. Let me say that again, right? That fixed cross, if you are a Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, especially Ascendant, to a lesser degree, but still relevant, Sun and the Moon, there's going to be something that needs to be let go of for you to push forward, right? And the thing itself will show up in the material world, but it will be the spiritual element. The solution will come from the spiritual part of your life. If you can tap into your spiritual energies, beliefs, or even use, an idea of spirituality, around like a challenge around money, career, or even just like living and existing in the world these days, that will get you through. And then finally, the dissociated trine to Pluto between the 9th house and the 12th house. This is a harmonious aspect to the moon from the ultimate power player, right? Pluto is power. It's newly in your 9th house, and this suggests that there is a return of some kind of personal power, but it comes through either your faith or the closing of a cycle, or even like the release of, like, if you've got a legal matter going on, maybe when that closes down, you're like, right, now I'm free and I'm ready to, I have to always remind myself that I'm live. If it was one of my videos, I know all of my subbies are like, right, we love Raf's potty mouth, but I don't think YouTube does. So whenever I'm on live, I'm always quite conscious that, not too much swearing. But yeah, I love this for you guys. It might also bring to light an international connection, or potentially a desire to learn something at a much higher level. Your card for this new moon, look at that, right? You got the 9 of Cups. So not only, because the 12th house is, it is a house of healing, right? But it's healing that comes from the spiritual realm, right? It's not like the bodily stuff. It's a more spiritual energy, where it comes from, the ether, the other world. I call the 12th house in the chart the space in which the door that connects you to the other world resides. That's where your connection to whatever is beyond resides, right? But that 9 of Cups, that's a wish fulfilled. There is someone, maybe your spirit team, maybe a loved one that's passed, that is working on your behalf to get something, really done for you. And I think that's great. Okay, so for Cancer, sorry. Whew. Okay, so for Cancer, sorry, hydration station. For Cancer, this is happening in your 11th house. So my lunar brothers and sisters, right? This is a special time for you because obviously, anytime there's a new moon, a full moon, an eclipse of any kind, you know, solar or lunar, it has something to do with you. Now, as it's a conjunction to the sun, something new is being birthed here in your 11th house. This is the space in which your ruler, well, not the space, it's not the house, but it's definitely the sign, right? The moon exalts in the sign of Taurus. So this is going to be great for you. I mean, it's going to be great for all of us in some way, shape, or form, to be fair, because it's, you know, the moon in the happiest sign that it likes to be in. But for you in particular, Cancer, in the 11th house of social networks, this is potentially growth of networks, drawing in benefactors. It might also see where social media, networks, and creativity can really amplify your own voice, can help you shine, can help you bring more money in, and can also help you uncover the path that you need to tread in order to see your personal desires enacted. Now, Venus is the ruler of this new moon. She's in your sign. So this new moon is going to be particularly beneficial for you. It's not without its challenges, but listen, that's life, right? Finally, Mars is about to leave your sign the following day after this new moon, and it will see you getting proactive about what's being made, what's being created, where you go from here, and how you make more money. And I can see this as well amplifying your spending, right? So it's like the money is coming in, but it's also potentially going out at the same time. Now, in the sextile to Neptune, this is happening across your 9th and 11th houses. There's a very spiritual element and connection to this new moon, right? And Neptune is adding its energies to it at the time, which for you might help you understand a legal matter more from a spiritual perspective. And the reason that's important, right? Sometimes when we have things pop up in our lives, disputes, arguments, fights, or even things that happen around us or in front of us, sometimes it's not necessarily about the thing that's happening, it's about the deeper spiritual message that's taking place. I don't know if you've ever, when sometimes you see two people arguing in the street and you hear like what they're saying to each other and you're like, oh my gosh, I was just talking about that with my sibling the other day, or, I had that same argument with a friend, the other day. And it's like, it gives you that moment to see things from a different perspective as an outside person. So you might look at a legal matter that you're having at this new moon and you might get some powerful insight. Remember, this new moon being conjunct the Algol star, there is a prophetic or a visionary element to it. So you might be seeing something here. Now, Neptune can distort, and a dark moon is a lack of light. So don't put all your eggs in one basket and, kind of say to yourself, yes, this is it. I see the deeper meaning of life. It's number 42. If you know, you know. For the sextile to Mars, this is happening across your first house because Mars is in your sign. It's about to leave. It's in a sextile to the new moon in the 11th. Mars in your first, where it's in its full, but it will have helped you release and get rid of things, and maybe even people for some of you that have long since held you back, right? So this could be where you really kind of said, okay, you know what? I can make that cut now, right? Mars gives you that ability to sever something, to cut it or chop it from your life. It will have been hard, challenging work. It might even have come with some heartbreak for a select few of you, but this is a cleansing Mars. This is healing tears, the sweat that builds muscle, and the boiling water that sterilizes something. That's Mars in the sign of Cancer. Trying to this new moon, it gives your future plans and goals incredible drive, right? Incredible. Now, even though Mars is going to move out of Cancer, like literally, within days of this new moon, it's important because that energy is still present in your sign and feeding into the new moon that will grow over the next 6 months. All right. So this is why I say whenever we're talking about this stuff, It's not just, oh, yeah, that's the event and it's done. It's how is that energy going to unfold or unpack over time? That grand fixed cross happening across the 1st, the 5th, the 8th, and the 11th. There's no getting around that this is a challenging aspect for all of us. And since part of it lands in your 1st house, when the moon's incepts and it does what it does, there's going to be a need to let something go. And it won't be something you've already let go. This will be something new that comes to light where you say to yourself, okay, I understand now how this thing or why this thing needs to be removed. And it could be that you find yourself in a place where you have to bargain something out. And I will say that it's likely to have something to do with money, career, potentially both. It's a time where you're going to need to be ready to release something and let go of expectation in order to move forward. Now, the trine to Pluto, it's a dissociated trine, modern ruler of your 5th house in amongst everything. That's magic that shows up for you between the 11th and the 8th house. And it's a boost to your income that may come from a source that you don't expect. It might also be that you come into a wealth of knowledge and a payout of some kind is attached to that that's totally unexpected. So that could be really nice. For this, you've got the Ace of Cups, right? And the Ace of Cups is wish fulfillment. And the 11th house is a house of goals, hopes, wishes, and dreams for the future. So this is beautiful. This is lovely. This is that open heart for Cancer becomes a good magnet for things that you desire. There's also, I mean, this is a very growthful energy. This is pregnancy and birth energy for a select few of you. So, you know, whatever it is that you're hoping to bring into your life for the longer term, the Ace of Cups basically says this new moon is going to start to bring it in for you. Gorgeous. Leo, 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 my sun sign brothers and sisters. This new moon for you is happening in your 10th house. This is going to be a welcome breath of fresh air. If you are a Leo ascendant like me, you have had, I mean, all of us have, but the fixed signs in particular have had enough of these fixed sign eclipses, right? We are so done with this cycle. New moon in the 10th, welcome breath of fresh air. It's a new moon that is not an eclipse. Thank you. I was going to swear then, but I caught myself in time. This new moon is promising wonderful things for your career, and you should definitely set intentions. Excuse the should. You guys know me. I never want to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't be doing, but this is a new moon to set intentions for your career. But don't stop there. Be proactive and don't let yourself get trapped into thinking that it only can go one way or has to be a certain way, right? Like, be open to the possibilities here because there are new and fresh possibilities. And that 10th house for you is lit up right now. Mercury, Jupiter, right, the North Node, Uranus, the Sun, and the Moon. There's a lot going on in this 10th house. Something wonderful is being seeded for the Leos in their career sector. And I think this is because the amount of stuff that you've had to put up with through that 4th house, 10th house axis, this is like the universe saying, you know what? Now you get your rewards. We see what you've done. We've seen the grind. We've seen the hard work. We've seen the effort, the sweat, the blood, the tears, like literally in some cases. Now we're going to start to see, right? Mars moving through the 12th has been a bit crap here and there, to be completely honest with you. But now that Venus is there, it's smoothing the edges off a little bit. And what, you know, that's going to shift, obviously, because they're going to come into Leo imminently, right? Now, sextile, the new moon sextile to Neptune, this is an 8th house, 10th house connection. Sextiles bring opportunity, and it suggests that one is being offered to you that has an element of being great for fulfilling your spiritual duties to the world. It might have something to do with energy work. It may actually be something to do with some kind of clearing of your own energy that needs to happen. It would also be a fantastic time to do some kind of energetic intention setting and connect spiritually to help you understand and clarify what your purpose is, where you need to go next, and ask for the practical steps and then let them show up for you, right? This is a case of, universe, this is where I want to take this. This is where I understand you're bringing in for me. Show me what the steps are. Taurus is all about the practicality, right? In the sextile to Mars between the 10th house and the 12th house, this is a new moon signature. And as such, we need to be aware of it. There's something coming to an end here. You're stepping forward in a way that allows you to part ways with a hard experience from your life. Now, Mars coming into the 12th house, I felt this from the 11th. I'm not even going to lie. Like when Mars moved into my 11th house, the stuff that came up from February, things that I genuinely thought I had dealt with, laid to rest, made peace with, I'm totally over that, man. Mars in the background, like, hold my beer, because I'm about to step in and mess stuff up. Right? When Mars comes into the sign of Leo in your first house, it's going to grant you unbridled passion, energy, fire, the will to get stuff done. But in the meantime, as part of this new moon, it's going to help you. It's going to help you find a way to advance your career. And it might come through home, property, family. If you work from home, this could be amazing. It might also be through broadcasting, podcasting, all of that kind of stuff is very possible for a lot of you. It might even be lots of great things are possible with this. But remember, it's only a possibility. You have to work it. Now, for the Leo, just all the fixed signs in general, to be honest with you, we've really been through it, I've got to say, right? Now, the grand fixed cross for you is happening across the 1st, the 3rd, and the 7th, and the 10th. It will be the 4th, because obviously Mars is going to move into Leo very shortly after. It's a grand fixed cross happening across the angular houses. There's no getting around this. This is for a lot of you Leos, there might be a crossroads moment where you feel like, okay, I'm crossing a specific threshold here. And this is, there's no coming back from this. You might be very impatient at this time. It might be that the demands that come from the home, the partner, potentially even your children, are the things that are demanded or expected from you are clashing with what you want to grow for yourself. And I've got to tell you, Leo, for once, excuse me, YouTube, fuck it, right? Be selfish. This is a time for you to think of yourself. If there were ever a moment of this year that you were meant to do that, this is it. Now, in a trine to Pluto, it's a dissociated trine between the 7th and the 10th. I wouldn't be surprised if a relationship shows up for many of you. If you are single, it's likely to be a very intense relationship, or maybe even a very passionate sexual start. I mean, I'm not going to complain. All right, nothing wrong with that. But it's also likely to be that power comes to you through an avenue, a person, or maybe even a benefactor that you don't expect. Whatever it is, there's something that's been a long time coming for a lot of you, and it's likely to be something that maybe ends a few connections or sets you apart from things and people that have been, a part of what you know to be your life for a very long time, right? Your card, dear Leo, look at this, the Temperance card, all things in balance and moderation. This is really about going after what you want for yourself, envisioning what you want for yourself, but knowing that in order to really see something grow for the long term, you will need to work with or alongside others. As it stands, though, whatever you have manifested or aligned your vibration or your energy to, this is where it shows up for you. So I'm very happy to see this Temperance card, because this is the healing that we need in those 4th house, 10th house areas that we haven't had for a very long time, right? This is, yeah, there's a few things I could say about that. Virgo, this for you guys is happening in your 9th house, a chance to reset and redefine your belief system. This is where you start getting back into a spiritual practice. Maybe there's assistance that comes from a teacher or a coach. The 9th house is a really lucky space in the chart, and it's bringing a solid energy from the cosmos to enhance. That's one of the things that I love, Melissa. The way that the tarot and the astrology just link up, I just love it. This is a lucky space in the chart, the 9th house. Now, in the 9th house, you've got bigger and broader, expansive energy that can see you setting something into motion, not only for the long haul, but also to reach a larger amount of people. This is less work for more reach, right? It's not going to be overnight, because remember, nothing that happens in Taurus is overnight stuff, but it will, however, be very cool and very amazing. Now, as all of these energies are in the 9th, they're trine, Jamila, I'm on Virgo. They're trine to your own sign, right? So the sun, the moon, the north node, Jupiter, Uranus, and Mercury, all of those energies are going to be trining your 1st house. This is lucky. It's amazing, all right? So I really like this. I think this is, and I think even with the challenges that are showing up in this signature, they're somewhat muted for you because of that trinal energy. Now, for the sextile between Neptune and the new moon, this is happening across the 7th and the 9th house. This could be a saving grace that comes from a partner, a collaborator, whether personal, professional, or platonic. Some kind of partnership could give you a very nice energy for connecting with others, especially on that one-to-one basis. Something is likely to be set into motion here, since Neptune and Pisces are artsy and film and TV and all of that kind of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if you have developments in those areas. Features could be coming your way here from Jupiter here on especially with Jupiter in the 9th house. So, if you get invites to speak on podcasts, to go on radio, to be an extra in a film or whatever, be open to all of that stuff, because it can really help you amplify. Love it. All right. Now, in a sextile to Mars, that 9th house, 11th house connection. This is the final push that you need to make towards some kind of educational pursuit. So I wonder if this is you getting a helping hand that comes via an opportunity from a friend. It could also be, something that you put energy into, but it feeds directly into a long-term goal or plan that you have. There's help, support here that works for you, right? Providing you're willing to work to make it happen. And I don't need to tell you guys that you need to work for stuff. You guys are absolute workhorses. Mars is action, energy, excitation, and it's the willpower, which means that you could receive the right kind of challenge at this time that has you roll up your sleeves and sort of make a leap of some sort. It can also provide you with the right kind of conditions that you need to release a belief system that no longer serves you. And for the Virgos this month around this new moon, it's you guys that I'm going to say, if you're ever going to book an abundance block smasher with me, this is the time to do it. If you're ever going to book a love block smasher session with me, this is the time to do it. Because of the way that this new moon is happening, you guys will get the most out of that kind of energy work at this moment in time. So for the grand fixed cross, this is happening for you across the 3rd, 7th, 9th, and 11th houses. Eventually it will be the 12th house, not the 11th. This is creating an impasse of some sort where something will definitely need to be acknowledged and then released. So you'll need to just kind of let go of whatever is in the way, or like whatever you're trying to move ahead with. This could be about your beliefs and your connections, and it's also your beliefs versus your education. And sometimes these two things clash, right? This could be your upbringing clashing with your present, and it might be a belief system or an idea or some kind of prior knowledge or training that you have to kind of forget or put to one side in order for life to be smoother at this time. Trine to Pluto, that dissociated trine between the 9th house and the 5th house. This could be some kind of spiritual connection to romance or through creative ideas and endeavors. You could be writing some steamy fiction for some of you. It could be, you know, that kind of simple. It could also be that you find a transcendent experience here somewhere. Pluto as the ruler of your 5th house could be... That doesn't track, sorry. Pluto is the ruler of your 3rd house. So, it could be like just deeper talks and, you know, maybe even sensual exploration of power dynamics in relationships. It could also be how you take your partnership in a new direction. And I like this for the potential of children releasing bad habits or friends, you know, like when parents say, like, I don't like that boy, I don't like that girl, they're a bad influence on my child. This transit, this could actually be the thing that helps them kind of say, oh, you know what, I'm going to stop hanging around with that person, mum, because ... Sometimes the universe will take the trash out. Not that any, you know, children are trash, but, you know, it's facts are facts, right? Sometimes kids are a bad influence on other kids. So for you guys, just to put that out there before anybody has a barmy, we've got the Queen of Wands, right? Solid and firm boundaries, but also tapping into your innate sensuality, sexuality, and finding a way to display that, not to have it kind of, you know, all behind, because Virgo's quite, not prudish, but you guys are sort of like, I mean, behind closed doors, Virgos are freaks, Annie, right? But they don't necessarily wear it on the sleeve. I think this is about tapping more into that sensuality that you have on that deeper level and sort of leading from that space. Okay, so for Libra, this is happening in your 8th house. And 8th house is a fresh start with some of the harder topics. It's the space of the occult and the spiritual and literal personal power. And a new moon here could see you start to get really proactive or really serious about taking your personal power back in some kind of sorry, just to backtrack quickly, because I can see a comment here and I have to address this. When I say freak, I mean like the kind of freak in the bedroom kind of freak, not the other kind. Like, I mean, you know, talking about the other kind, I wave my freak flag loud and proud. Like, I am a weirdo, self-compressed, professed, and I really don't care. But just to clarify, Morgan. Okay, so for Libra, going back to this is your... you know, this could be where you're taking your power back in a situation. And because it's in Taurus, there's an understanding that this will take time. And as Venus for you is your ruler, and it's also the ruler of the new moon, being in your 10th house, this is likely to have something to do with your marital status. It might also have a lot to do with your career and your legacy. So I also wonder here if you get a serious insight into what you need to transform, because the 8th house rules transformation. This could also be a most impactful new moon for you guys, and one that sees you tapping into something deep and primal and, you know, not dark, but yeah, dark. Like, let's just call a spade, right? Every human being is made up of infinite shades of light and dark. That is just the simple fact of life, right? And maybe this sees you tapping into that darkness and finding a strength or a personal power there, because you're more balanced, you're more whole, right? When we deny our shadows and the parts of us that want out to play every so often, we either end up burning out, having a breakdown, you know, our personality will split. That's what happens when you find a way to integrate your light and your shadow together. That's how you become truly whole. And then finally, it might also provide you with an intention to heal and bless your life when it comes to drawing in money from other people, new places, and spaces, which is great, right? Because the eighth house is other people's money, finances, and resources. This could also be where you start to change your financial destiny as it relates to passive income, or potentially resetting your taxes in some way. Now, for the sextile between between the new moon and Neptune, this is sixth house, eighth house stuff. I love this for an image change or a decision to get really serious about your health. The caveat with this is it comes potentially from a distorted view. So maybe like if you have a tendency to be way too hard on yourself, I'm not a doctor, I can't give diagnoses or anything like that. But if you think maybe you have some kind of body dysmorphia or anything like that, go and speak to a professional. If you feel really, really down about yourself and you find yourself giving yourself a really hard time, find somebody that is a professional to talk to so that you can see yourself in a better light before you do anything drastic with your health. Right, but it might also show you where you need to give yourself more grace, and I think that's really nice. Now, in the sextile to Mars, the 8th and 10th house, career-focused opportunities will likely show up that seem to need your attention immediately. The question is going to be, do you care enough about this thing to pursue it? It might be that there's a need to find some kind of deep courage to go after something that maybe you've been afraid of or want to pursue. There's not much time for this either. And it might feel like really urgent in some way. So it's going to involve like a creative endeavor. Now, the grand fixed cross is going to happen across the 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 10th. Eventually, that's going to be the 11th house instead of the 10th. There's going to be a true grand cross at that point. Now, in the meantime, your resources versus your desires. Something here, it might be a financial squeeze of some sort, but it could just as easily be a desire to live more on your own terms that's tempered by the reality of what other forces are at play in your life. That dissociated trine to Pluto between the 5th and the 8th is potentially deep transformative energy in this moon. And it might be for you guys, probably more than anybody else. There's a sense here that your own inner child, the 5th house, is maybe not perishing, but certainly like some long held goal, hope, or fantasy that you've had. It's like where you say to yourself, okay, you know what? That's probably never going to happen for me. Or actually, I don't want that anymore, right? You decide where to take the energy and where to put it, where you put that energy, fruit will grow. But you have to decide where that is for yourself. And you've got to let that come from, your most authentic space. And what I mean by that is not authentic to the world, authentic to yourself about what you want, what you need, and how you think you're going to, grow and flourish. Your card is the 4 of Pentacles, right? So if you've been with me long enough, I always say not this in particular, but this saying, jump or be pushed. The 4 of Pentacles suggests that you might just be focusing on the material aspect of this new moon. And that can be really tempting because it's like, okay, new money, new passive incomes, wonderful. Do not ignore the psychological, the emotional, or the spiritual components of how that 8th house new moon is going to shape up for you, because that is where the growth will happen. And when you align the mind, body, and spirit, the rest falls into place, right? Like the rest will be easy to do. It really, really will. Yes, please, if you wouldn't mind, if you are here right now and you have not hit that like button yet, it helps the channel, it helps me, it helps this video get out there, it helps YouTube kind of say, okay, this one's not awful. Let's get it out to more people. So this could be wonderful, right? This could be wonderful. Yeah, I think it could be wonderful for me and for my channel. So please hit the like button, help me get this one out there. All right. Okay, so for Scorpio, this is a new moon in the 7th house, a fresh start for your relationships, your partnerships. It could be personal, professional, platonic. This is likely to bring in new connections, new lovers, if you're open, or, new partners, new contracts and commitments. And it can also really help you and your partner, if you've already got a partner, if you're married or in a long-term connection. This is a beautiful healing new moon that will show you what your commitment needs from you long term. And I like this because if you've had, like, obviously in the last 2 years, almost 2 years, you will have had, it's a new moon that's not an eclipse. It's easier, it's gentler, it's more nourishing than all of the others that we've had. So that sextile between Neptune and the moon, this connection for you is harmonious. It gives all of your connections a somewhat dreamy feel. So this is fantastic for redefining contracts or starting over. But remember, that's the new moon itself. Because of this sextile to Neptune, maybe you can bring a creative or artistic flair to it, which could be great. But just remember, Neptune can distort. So you just need to be mindful about that. It's like, Neptune is like, when you view something through a glass, so you can see what it is, but it's a little bit wonky. Now, new love connections that come in could feel great. It could be a creative project for some of you involving children. It really shows you how great life can be. This is optimism and hope and a deep sense of connection. It is dreamy though, so you just got to be mindful that energy is about as well. Now, in the sextile to Mars, the new moon is offering you a chance to see yourself and your connections to the world as more than they can be right now. This is like, how do I get the most out of my connections? How do I really start to use not my network, but my connections, the people that I really know that are in my, orbit, let's say. Now, it shows you where international or even educational, pursuits can really enrich or support your life, especially in some like really exciting, new or profound ways. Like, this is potentially the drive that you need to pursue something that usually you wouldn't go after. And this can be that innate power that you need to share something with the world that's a part of you that usually you keep really sort of well hidden, well insulated, right? This could be something that you feel like, no, you know what, I'm ready to share my story on this. Your ruler in the 9th house is a very spiritual energy. Okay, and I love Mars moving through that sort of energy because it's going to empower you to find a depth of strength to go after something and not back down. Now, you've got a staying power anyway, but what I kind of feel for you guys, this will be some kind of growth that maybe you hadn't, been able to access previously. Now, for you guys, again, that fixed grand fixed cross across the 1st, the 4th, the 7th and the 9th. At the moment, it will be the 10th eventually. A fixed sign grand cross activation. If you're a fixed sign, you've been hit by these stuffs hard, but this is what's one more, right? You and your modal brothers, Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, are some of the most stubborn, not some of, the most stubborn and powerful signs in the zodiac. The consideration, or should I say the configuration, though, is not budging. And your usual approach to things to just wait it out, it's not going to do it. Change is what's required here. And simultaneously, there might be a feeling of not sort of knowing where to start and also wanting to do everything all at the same time. And so it's like, okay, I know all of these areas of my life need to shift or change in some way, but I'm not sure where to go first. Trust yourself, trust your instincts, right? But also trust the universe. Now, the trine to your ruling planet of Pluto, your modern ruler, should I say, it might be a familial tie or connection that is, excuse me, because I've been waffling for so long, but through some very deep conversation with a family member, a loved one, somebody that you live with, You might also realize where a power struggle can be ended by your own hand. So, for a select few of you, this might even be an amicable end to a matter involving home, family, property, real estate, or even a personal relationship of some kind. And for you guys, you have the devil card, right? I think this is speaking directly to that fixed grand cross. And this was the feeling that I got from it. Of all of the fixed signs, we're all going to feel it the same because it's happening across our sort of mode of energy, right? Across the fixed signs. But what really struck me when I was looking at the charts for this, yours seems to be the one that is going to try the most to dig in and keep everything the same. There's an addictive pattern here. No, this has worked up until now and it will continue to work. That approach isn't going to do it, sweetheart. I tell you straight up, you are going to have to make a change here. And if you don't, it's kind of like, you know, when they say like the reason some people survive like a really hard knock is because they're floppy. If you brace up and you tense, you break. Whereas if you flow, it will just bounce off of you or you'll bounce off of it, right? That's the message that I have for you, my dear Scorpios. Bend with it, roll with it, flex with it. It's going to be the best way for you to get through. Okay, for Sagittarius, my dear Saggies, a new moon for you in the 6th house of your body, your routines. The 6th house is the maintenance house. It's the house that all the unsexy stuff, right? So whatever you've got, your home, your car, your bed, like this is where you have to wash the sheets. It's where you have to go to the gym, you know, all the stuff that you've got, you maintain it through this 6th house. This new moon is not an eclipse, which means that for the first time, you're getting some much needed respite and a fresh start with your bodily energies. Vitality might now slowly you might slowly feel yourself sort of regenerate. Thank you so much for the super chat, Christine. I really appreciate it. Remember, Jupiter can and will amplify everything. So if you've got health concerns, the new moon set intentions around new health and vitality. Since this is also a work house, this is going to be new ways of working that show up for you, including new projects, new dynamics, and special ways of creating things. Your 6th house is really lit up at this moment in time. So expect work to get busier and also more enjoyable, I think. Now, for the sextile between Neptune and the new moon, this is happening across your 4th, 6th house axis. For you guys, yes, new ways of doing everything. It's going to be important, Aurora. It really will. With connections to your home, might take on your own home, should I say, might take on a more sanctuary kind of feel. There's a chance for deep spiritual, emotional regeneration and reflection here. And I feel like this might come through a family tie or a connection or a work connection even, especially if you work from home or with homes or property. Blessings could come through this aspect if you're willing to create stretch goals for yourself, because your ruler is in the 6th house as well, right? Now, we're on Sagittarius, Louise. What really strikes me with this, I say a stretch goal for a Sagittarius, and I know a lot of you are sat there scratching your head like, Raf, we are like the biggest, broadest thinkers in the zodiac. A stretch goal that pertains directly to your work, a stretch goal that pertains rightly to you getting yourself out there. Now, in the sextile to Mars between the 6th and the 8th, this could be an opportunity to make more money from other people in a passive kind of manner. A chance to get proactive about your finances might show up, and it might also be that an income stream that you've relied on is going away now, but you start to build a new one that comes directly into it. So love that. Now, grand fixed cross, 3rd house, 6th house, 8th house, 12th house. Obviously, eventually it's going to be the 9th instead of the 8th. This will, of course, shift, right? But at the same time, for you, personal maintenance and education, this is about the patterns, the habits, and the cycles, and how personal beliefs have either informed or hindered your results. There's an impasse here, right? You will need to, something's gonna, and it's the same for all of us in some way, shape, or form. There's something here that will have to be let go of. There'll be no getting around it. There's no sidestep or way to trick the energy. This is just one of those things where you have to kind of get in and deal with what is. That trine to Pluto between the 3rd and the 6th, it's a dissociated trine. The new moon is setting into motion an informed and powerful improvement to your day-to-day experience, right? This might come through the breaking of a bad habit for some of you, especially given the houses that are activated. So there's a sense of like, I'm cleaning up my act here, but in a healthy and positive way, not like a, you need to clean up your act, young man. Excuse me. Or by a little bit more intense, because obviously Pluto is involved. This could be a really potent and in-depth conversation that helps you clarify what needs to change or be adapted to ensure the best future for yourself when it comes to health, happiness, work, and finances. For this, you've got that 8 of Pentacles. So your work, your profession, your job, your grind, even the things that your skills, skills that you have that maybe need to be refined. This suggests that you will be working on these in a big way and they will start to become more prominent. And also potentially you'll be able to see where your specific skill set can actually be applied. For Capricorn, this for you guys is happening in your 5th house. And I have to say, of all of the signs, this 5th house new moon, I think is going to be the nicest for you. This is fun, energetic new moon. It's one of the best ones and most enjoyable for the cycle. Being a personal space of happiness, joy, finding the happiness and joy in the smallest and most practical things might be a part of this. Love, romance, a stolen smooch or two might also be in the works. If you're single, this new moon will not leave you single for long, right? Over this course of this next 6 months, you will be ready to collect. If you're partnered, this is connection that borders on fun and silly. It's a lighter hearted energy than you've had in a while. And I know the Cappies have needed this, right? Children, if you've got them, could be a huge source of Susan. Susan is a wonderful human being and often sends me wonderful emails and little blessings in the mail and all sorts. She's just a wonderful human being. Lovely to have you. So yeah, this can be it could be a really great time of sharing. And if you've got children, this could be a time where you feel closer to them than maybe you have in a while, and those bonds are refreshed or renewed or newly nourished in some way. Now, sextile to Neptune, this is happening across the 5th and the 3rd. There's a chance to transcend the material planes here with this connection. You could do this through sex and sensuality. It could be a dreamy, romantic connections with sweet words, kind looks, laughter, fun that just kind of lifts your spirits. There's a silliness here that I just absolutely love. And, if you've been with me long enough, I always say, like, if you ain't got no banter, I'm not interested. But beyond the banter, there's the silliness, like the teasing of each other and the, where you make each other laugh over really ridiculous things, or you have those little inside jokes. Those things are coming back into the relationship if you've got one. And that light-hearted fun and creativity, I feel, brings laughter and joy and creativity and expression into your world. It could also be creativity that you're doing, something that you're using your hands, your words, or even your body for. Even better, right? If it's doing all of the same, getting back to workouts, movement, fun, pleasure, dance, energetic expression and experience. Just love, really love. Now, sextile to Mars. This, if Neptune is dreamy, sweet nothings in the ear, The Mars and the connecting to the new moon is sexy, vibrant energy that brings pleasure beyond measure. Okay, it can be a little bit volatile, maybe even for someone who loves you, you know, as the saying goes or the song goes by Eva Cassidy, someone that, you know, loves you so naughty makes you weak in the knees, right? In all other partnerships and commitments, this is a strong energy for releasing any form of contract or connections that just aren't serving or aren't cutting it anymore. It might also be that you see yourself getting really clear on your desire to protect and defend something or someone. So I love this, right? It could also be a time where you start to forge newer connections that have a lot of the same values, or even just how you embody yourself within relationships could be seen as a greater asset in some way. Then the grand fixed cross for you is going to be across the 2nd, 5th, 7th, and 11th houses. Eventually, it will be the 8th house, not the 7th. But this is about resources and finances versus creativity and connections. So there's an impasse here that can't be crossed. And it's like you're being asked to let something go in order to welcome in new energy. And this fixed cross, so, you know, even your own stubbornness can be highlighted here. But I gotta say, none of us are going to win this, right? It don't matter what mode you are, how powerful your sign is, that fixed grand cross, all of us across the board in some way, shape, or form, it don't matter how stubborn you are, how powerful your sign is, there's no way past this. And I don't say that to rob anybody of your power. I actually say it to you to say, right, you know what, if you know that there's something coming up that you're not going to be able to get past, find out where you can surrender and what you are prepared to release in order to move forward. All right, like that is the way forward. That's the way through that fixed cross. Finally, trine to Pluto, it's a dissociated trine between the 2nd and the 5th. Pluto is now in your 2nd house, making you a magnet for money, darling. But the caveat with the new moon is if you're trying to pull money in from things that you're not genuinely interested in, that you don't genuinely love, it will probably come to nothing, right? Pluto basically says, I want the real, I want the depth, I want the authenticity, especially because this is a 5th house connection as well, right? I want the truth. And as long as you give me that, and that is what you desire, what is at the base or the deepest part of your core true values and desires? If they don't align, the money won't come. And this is not just about integrity, it's about self-care in the deepest sense. And what I mean by this is, if you say, right, you know what, I want £1 million. Okay, that's what you want here on the surface. But what are the things that you really believe that £1 million are going to give you? Security. I can help my family. I don't have to worry about my living situation. When you start to dig into what the true value or the true why of that thing you say you desire is, Pluto will give it to you. Until then, it won't come, right? It will demand the real from you. For this, you have the 3 of Pentacles. Look at that, right? I love this. I love this. This is a Capricornian energy. It actually represents Saturn in Capricorn. So I love this, right? And what I really like about it is it suggests that there is advice and knowledge coming your way, potentially new ways of doing things. And if you can keep your mind and your opinions open to learning new things from different places, spaces, and people, you can potentially open yourself up to receiving the things that you want. And it's going to show you where to put your work. Everybody knows that Capricorn is a hard worker. Sometimes it's not about working hard, it's about working smart, knowing where to put that effort in order to get the results. Aquarius, my sun sign brothers and sisters. Fourth house new moon. A new moon in the fourth house is about home, family, property, real estate if you have it. Some of you might be getting a new home. Some of you may be improving your home. Others might really be getting a powerful push towards purchasing a home, settling in a home, right? It's also possible that you could be selling a home. And there's another thing here as well, because it's a new start in the home sector. I like this for moving in with a partner. So for those of you that are partnered, but you live in separate places, this could be the start of you bringing it in, right? I love it for change and adaptation of the home that brings joy and satisfaction. What does strike me here is you probably won't be doing anything alone within this sphere. With this new moon. So it's like whatever you're doing it with people or with others. As it's now joined in Taurus, and it's not an eclipse, the magic of family and expansion, because obviously Jupiter's now in this fourth house for you at this time. Cousins, siblings might be having babies. The family could be growing. It doesn't have to be your own child. It's possible, just that you hear that the family is growing in some way, shape, or form. In a sextile to Neptune, this is happening across the second house and the fourth house. Money matters play a role in this, and is a potential if you're doing work on the home, etc. You could definitely overspend at this time. It's also fair to say as well that the spending that you're doing on the home, even if you do overspend, you're just like, you know what, I'm getting so much joy and pleasure out of it. Yes, I've overspent, but it's not like there won't be any buyer's remorse with this. It will just be like, you know what, I did this for my home. It's made it beautiful, much more habitable. I love it and I don't care. Yes, I paid through the nose for it, whatever. And I love those moments, where people say like, oh, that was well expensive. You could have got it cheaper elsewhere. And you're just like, I'm so in love with the thing that I bought. I really don't give a crap. Right. It could also bring a spiritual element to the home life. I love this for bringing a more spiritual practice or path into the home. As Mars is also trying to Neptune, I would consider this a pretty decent energy to make some serious personal changes that help you shift your core values or enhance your emotional outlook in some way. And then, for the sextile between Mars and the new moon, this is home-based changes and opportunities to bring a stronger sense of personal duty to the home. So you're one of the lucky ones, Aquarius, because Mars in Cancer is in your sixth house. Mars exalts in the sixth house. That's where it does its best sort of work. Now, it means it's giving you a helping hand to get serious about your health, to tap into your innate drive, to really accomplish things when it comes to your health, your routine, cleaning up your own patterns, maybe even habits. Some of you might even be highlighted where you really looked after yourself. And, it might actually, it might highlight where you haven't looked after yourself, but then you say, no, you know what, I'm going to get determined. I'm going to start fixing that. There will have been a powerful decision to focus deeply on your career and maybe even deciding to get new skills. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of you were thinking about going back to school in some way. Now, as the final fixed sign, yes, you're going to be getting smashed from this bloody grand fixed cross. We're all going to be feeling it in a way, but the fixed signs in particular will be the ones that feel it the most. So this is happening across your first, fourth, sixth, and 10th houses. Eventually, that will be the seventh. What this says for you is the main theme is what you want for yourself at home and out in the world, and what's expected from you or thought about you by the connections that you have, and also maybe even how you kind of really navigate your life on a personal level. Finally, the dissociated trine to Pluto is happening between the first and the fourth houses. There's a deeply hidden secret desire, one that you have yet to really pursue, right? And what I mean by this, Aisha, I'm literally just wrapping up Aquarius. What this really suggests to me for you, Aquarius, is something that you want, that you really desire for yourself, that you maybe haven't given yourself true permission or empowered yourself enough to say, I want that. And that's what I feel like I'm ready to go after now. Average was, with everything, the more of yourself that you pour into this, that's how much it's going to grow. And for lack of a better word, some kind of spell that you are setting into motion that no one will know about until you are good and ready. There's a fresh start here of your home and your family and your roots and your emotional outlook. And it might even be that you decide to start working towards something fulfilling and thrilling. And I kind of feel like this is how far can I push this? How far can I take this? There's something that's being initiated from the depths of who you are. This is a secret desire that nobody knows about, and they won't until you are ready to kind of go, bam, this is what I'm ready for. All right, so let's go, Aquarius. For this, we've got the Four of Cups. My dear Aquarius, the only thing that stands in the way of you and setting this secret desire into motion, snap out of your funk, right? Snap out of it. Get out of there right now, right this second, as you're watching this, as you are hearing this. This is your moment to snap out of it, right? This is your moment to know your desire and its imminent success is so much closer than you realize. All it's going to take is for you to snap out of your funk, to raise your head, look to the skies, the universe, God, Buddha, Allah, Chi, whatever you believe in, and say, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to go after it. I'm ready to pursue this. This new moon is really going to help you. And the reason being as well, because it's in the fourth house for you, it's not just all of the things that I talked about, like, the practical stuff. It's also about your deepest emotional makeup. And that fourth house, Four of Cups, the universe knows what it's doing, right? Tarot is on the ball tonight, I tell ya, right? In that fourth house, that space of the deep emotional self, because sometimes this card can be emotional stagnancy. This is where you empower yourself from that emotional sector, right? That's that fourth house new moon. But that Pluto in the first house or in your sign is really saying to you, what is the depth here? What is the truest desire? And now that I empower myself emotionally and I pour my true self through that Plutonian element into this thing that I say that I want, or this desire that I'm ready to chase, that is how it grows. All right. Sorry, I went on a little bit of a tirade there. Catherine, I will be seeing you tomorrow. This wonderful lady has a session booked in with me. All right. And then for Pisces, third house, a new moon in the third house is not an eclipse. It sets intentions, or should I say, this is a third house, a new moon in your third house that's not an eclipse. Set intentions around interviews, communications. Use this new moon to initiate all kinds of conversations that are going to help you get ahead in life. This is the time for you to go after those things that you want, Pisces, to be really honest with yourself and get after it in a really practical way. This is a new moon that's good for invites, good for connections, conversations, new skills. I would wager that some of you start a process of true growth from here on in, whether it's like you get lost in something that just captivates you and also draws you in a really practical way. This is, for some of you, maybe you're going to be launching a website in the next 6 months. You're starting to really think, okay, how do I, get into people's spaces and places in a big way, from here on in. The other thing as well, this is about your local environment, short distance travel. This could be where you really start to emerge as you start into, you're starting to enjoy more of what you love at a local level. And those connections are being forged for you now. Now, in the sextile to Neptune, Neptune is in its home sign of Pisces. This connection for you is one that feels fated or spiritual, or even just nourishing on a soul level. Saturn is newly in your sign. It's powerfully amplifying your ability to build the vision that Neptune is helping you dream into being, right? So Neptune in your sign is like, this is what I see, this is what I envision, this is what's out there for me, this is what I feel is possible. And then Saturn's in the background going, okay, let's keep our feet on the ground, and I'm going to show you what steps you need to build this into practicality or into actuality. This is a dual power, and you're going to have this for 2 and a bit years. Do not waste it. Start working on it now. Now, in the sextile to Mars, Mars being in your fifth house of pleasure, this could see you embarking, because it's the new moon in a sextile to Mars. So there's an opportunity to start a sporty health, and or not health so much, but a sporty sort of fitness journey. Maybe you're doing this with another person. If it's in the third house, definitely best to do it with at least 1 or 2 other people. It will see you having really good results. But when it moves into you, the exaltation energy of your 6th house, that's when your energy is going to explode. You will be cooking on gas at that point. Don't waste it. And in the meantime, start preparing to use that moon's sextile to Mars. Uphold something that you really care about. All right. It's time to remember what it feels like to do something just because you love to do it. That nature of play and exploration is going to bring a serious amount of money your way if you channel it right. Yes, I said that. The right, like a good amount of money. All right, so the grand fixed cross. Whew, it's going to be a lot, y'all, right? The 3rd, the 5th, the 9th, and the 12th houses. Obviously, eventually that's going to move into the 6th. In the meantime, you're learning your skills, and your beliefs are squaring off with what needs to be maintained when it comes to your day-to-day experience, but also your spiritual self. So you're about to break some old beliefs in a really big way. And when you see what's possible, you're going to wonder what the you've been doing up until this moment, right? But in the best way. It's not going to be like oh, I've wasted so much time. No, we're not doing that. What you're going to be like, damn, this is awesome and easy, and I wish I'd done it before. Yes, it's still a grand fixed cross, so there is going to need to be some kind of surrender, but your sign does this better than anybody else. I think Gemini and Pisces, I think, are going to navigate that grand fixed cross better than anybody else. And then finally, trine to Pluto in that dissociated trine, the 3rd and the 12th house. An opportunity through work that you thought was great and is now out of reach, no longer possible, is coming back around. You're getting a second shot at the apple in some way, shape, or form. It could be some kind of secret that is shared with you about work or about your career. And when it is, you might really have to seriously gather your personal power and start understanding what you need to do in order to move forward and ahead. So what I mean by this is maybe a colleague comes to you and says, did you know that they're going to start firing people next month? And, they're looking to slash 10 jobs. A boss comes to you and says, did you know we are planning to hire for a management position from internal? Are you interested? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a secret about the workplace that could be quite disruptive potentially. What's shared with you at this new moon will elevate how you see yourself, because it's going to strengthen you from within. And then finally, this could be the end of a power struggle with someone who has been literally really intense for or towards you. This could be where you kind of say, yeah, you know what? You've been a royal pain in my butt, but actually now things are different and I've got more strength, more power to deal with you. Okay. It's been wonderful to have you. Thank you all so much for all of your amazing comments. Thank you for your patience while I got this video out to you. I really hope you enjoy it. I really hope you come back to it. Please share it with anybody that you feel is going to help it. If you are still here and watching this and you haven't already, smash that like button, please. If it resonates with you and you think, hey, hang on, you know what? This British guy isn't too bad. hit that subscribe button as well, right? So you will see, there's Astro Tarot, there's Pure Tarot, there's astrology videos, there's human design specials that I do with a friend of mine from time to time, who is an awesome soul. And there are a lot more collaborations on the way. And I am cooking up something pretty special that I will be announcing very shortly that I think you guys are going to absolutely love. And it's at a price point that is totally accessible to pretty much everyone. All right. So with that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Oh, I didn't do Pisces a card, did I? Your card, dear Pisces, nearly. Your card, dear Pisces, is the Knight of Swords. This is really about you jumping in, right? It's about having the guts, the passion, the desire to say, you know what? I'm taking my power back and I'm going after this. I am ready to do something. And this is a card of commute and or interviews. And since this is a third house thing for you, this is amazing, right? Because this is commute, interviews, going to and from things. And I feel for a lot of you, the whole work sphere is about to really, really ramp up. So this could be great. All right. So yes, once more, have a wonderful evening, a wonderful Monday. Remember to set your intentions around this wonderful Taurus new moon. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up for you. Please enjoy it. Again, thank you all so, so much. It really means a lot that you have spent an hour and 45 minutes of your time with yours truly. I love you for it. And yeah, I will see you very soon for more content, more videos. It's been a lot of fun. I love you loads, and I will see you soon.